Hi there, I'm Dana. I'm a local therapist and yoga instructor, and I will be giving you some tools to use at home during this time, this stressful time, that maybe you can use. Um, some mindfulness, meditation, yoga tips, and also many other tools that I happen to use in therapy. Um, I even have some dancing tools. I was hoping my daughter might share some dancing tips, but I don't know. I guess she's kind of camera shy. So I want to start out first with, I guess, something about yoga in case you've never done yoga. There's a great book called Yoga for Depression. It's written by Amy Weintraub, and she is actually a therapist. I trained with Amy Weintraub, and I think she's just wonderful. I read her book first. And I want to point out for some that are confused that yoga is not a religion. Um, and I also want to point out that on this platform, we should be accepting of all religions. Amy happens to be Jewish, and I have Jewish clients. I have Buddhist clients. I have Wicca clients. I have agnostic clients. I happen to be a Christian, but I'm not going to set any religious dogma. And I also want people to know that yoga is not a religion. And I'm going to read from Amy's book on the eight-limbed path. And so she's talking about a client she was seeing named Susan. Uh, this is on page 57 if you happen to get the book. When Susan began her yoga practice, she was immediately reaping the benefits of at least five, possibly six, of the eight yogic branches of yoga. I'm referring here to the eight-limbed path set down by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras. So there's a book called the Yoga Sutras. When Patanjali compiled the Yoga Sutras in 200 CE, the first written guidelines for the practice of yoga, postures, pranayamas, and meditation techniques, these principles had been transmitted only from oral passed down, while what Patanjali recorded were guidelines for practice and not the practices themselves, which required a personal relationship with the teacher and student. He set forth a kind of treatment plan to address the categories of mental and emotional distress. The plan is known as the eight-limbed path. In the Yoga Sutras, it describes 9 distractions or obstacles to inner awareness, and that's disease, dullness, doubt, carelessness, laziness, addiction, false perception, failure to reach firm ground, and instability. He goes on to describe 4 pathological states that accompany these obstacles: depression, anxiety, trembling in the limbs, unsteady breath. These states, he suggests, can be managed and even taken out through the yamas, restraint, the niyamas, observances, the asanas, which are the postures that we'll be doing, pranayama, which is breathing, which I'll be helping you with, and then the pratyahara. I'm not very good at Sanskrit. Withdrawal of the senses, the concentration area, the absorption, and the cosmic consciousness. So I don't even use like all the Sanskrit names because it just confuses people. But just know that this was actually started, yoga, the eight-limbed path, for a way of living. It's not a religion. Many Hindu people do practice yoga in India. So that's where people sometimes get confused because it's a way of life, but it's a way set forth as a treatment plan to stay healthy and not take on disease and depression and all those things. So I just want to clarify that in case you're not familiar with yoga. Thich Nhat Hanh happens to be a monk that uses a lot of mindfulness, and he is from Vietnam. I love his little pocket book because he has lots of positive ways at looking at mindfulness and being present in the moment. And he talks about, like a mighty river, the teachings of well, this is the editor's note. Like a mighty river, the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh are deep and wide. What can be said of their depth? Indeed, the deepness of any spiritual teaching. Um, there's a place where I use on some of his mindfulness. He says, a life of miracles. As we sit down next to the stream, we can listen to its laughter and watch its sparkling waters, noticing the pebbles glistening, the fresh green plants nearby, and we may be overcome with happiness. We are one with the stream's freshness, purity, and clarity. But in just an instant, we may find we've had enough. Our heart is troubled and we think of other things. We are no longer at one with the stream. It is of no use to sit in a peaceful forest if our mind is lost in the city. When we live with a child or a friend, their freshness and warmth can relax us. But if our heart is not with them, their precious presence is neglected and they no longer exist. We must be aware of them to appreciate their value, to allow them to be our happiness. So all I ask during this time is that you recognize there are children watching this media outlet, this group, and make sure your comments are positive because we don't want to hurt their little minds any more than they are hurt right now. So some books that I recommend are some of the mindfulness. He has some great little, I'll find my books that I use. Thich Nhat Hanh uses some great little, The Pebble and doing some meditation. It's a great book. It's probably at work. Another book, though, that's great for kids, teenagers, or adults is The Alchemist. And this one happens to be the illustrated book of The Alchemist. And I love Paulo Coelho. I've read most of his books. He's a Brazilian writer, and he uses lots of spiritual. But I was going to look for The Alchemist is the magical story of Santiago, an Andalusian shepherd boy who travels in search of a worldly treasure. From his home in Spain, he journeys to the market of Tangier and across the Egyptian desert to a fateful encounter with the alchemist. The story of the treasures Santiago finds along the way teaches us, as only a few stories have done, about the essential wisdom of listening to our hearts, learning to read the omens strung along life's path, and above all, following our dreams. So I hope you either read The Alchemist during this time or revisit it. I also will have lots of many other books that I will share with you. So right now, we're going to share the aromatherapy. When I do yoga, I try to get in the right mind. So this aromatherapy is called Naturally Lovable by Now Essentials. And usually what I do is I just kind of put some on my neck. I put it at my temples. I put it under my nose. And I don't rub my eyes. Just a way to get centered. So I'm going to teach you how to breathe. There's something that happens around age 5, and we stop breathing through our belly and we breathe through our chest. And when we breathe through our chest, we cut off oxygen to our brain, and it interferes with our mood, it interferes with our focus and our thinking. So right now, I want you to practice holding onto your belly, and when you breathe in, let your belly expand like a balloon. So breathe in, let your belly expand. And then exhale and let your belly come back. Breathe in, let your belly expand. Exhale, let your belly come back. One more time, breathe in, let your belly expand. Exhale, let your belly come back. And what you want to do is you want to feel your belly going out. No matter how thin you are, your belly can still go out. You can push your belly out and then come back in. Push your belly out and come back in. So when you breathe in through your nose, your belly goes out, and then when you exhale, your belly comes back. And you can kind of practice by holding onto your belly, feeling your ribs, and then feeling your chest. If your chest rises first, you're not doing it right. I constantly have to watch clients as they breathe when I teach them the proper breath, because what this does is when we get anxious or depressed, we're not breathing right. So we want to make sure we, throughout the day or when we do yoga, that we breathe correctly so that we're getting the most benefit from our practice. The next is a way to calm yourself is you can breathe in through your nose and then exhale through your mouth. So you want to breathe in through your nose, and it's about like 4 breaths or 4 counts, and you want to exhale deeply like Darth Vader through your mouth for about eight counts. That's called the 2-1 breathing. And if you do this, this is going to calm your central nervous system. So it's going to calm your parasympathetic and sympathetic. So your fight, flight, or freeze, and then your proper digestion. So it's wonderful if you're feeling a little anxious or you're feeling angry or even depressed. So let's do it again. Your hand is on your belly. You're going to breathe in through your nose for like 4. And then you're going to exhale through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose for like 4 as your belly goes out. Exhale through your mouth. One more time. Breathe in through your nose for like 4. Great. So I recommend that you do this to start your practice. You might want to just breathe in through your nose, just the breathe in through your nose, out through your nose, with your concentrating on your belly. Or in through your nose, out through your mouth. This is a wonderful way to start your practice. The next is starting with an intention. So you probably want to start in an easy seat. You want to loosen your shoulders, loosen your neck, and you might want to set an intention. So an intention would be like, whatever it is. Mine today might be, I hope everyone out there is feeling grounded, is feeling comfortable, is able to gather something from what I've shown them today, even if it's just the breathing. I just hope that we all get into a more mindful, peaceful place. So that would be my intention that I set for today. So I'm just going to set it as I'm breathing. Maybe I place my hands with my palms facing up. And then just taking a moment to kind of stretch your neck. Stretch the other side. Maybe I take my chin to my chest. As I'm doing this, I'm breathing in. My belly's expanding, and I'm exhaling, and my belly's coming back in. So I'm going to next take my chin down, and then I'm going to rotate my chin towards one side, coming back to the center, rotating my chin to the other side, coming back to the center. Maybe I bring my head up. And then maybe I turn my head again, over one shoulder, coming back to the center. Maybe I turn it to the other side, back to the center. And then maybe I'm going to take my upper body in circles, so I can kind of just sit with my hands palms down on my knees and just kind of rotate. I'm rotating slowly, breathing, noticing the sounds. The doves are outside. My dog and my cat and my other dogs making noise. And then I'm going to rotate the other direction, just slowly. Coming back. And I might stretch a little bit, taking my left hand to my right knee and then taking my right hand behind me and just not forcing it, just barely stretching. Breathing here. My head follows my right shoulder, looking over. I notice how the window's dirty back there from the dogs. And then I'm going to switch my legs so that my other leg is on top, just getting situated. And this time I'm taking my right hand to my left knee and my left hand behind me, looking over, just a little stretch. There's a red bird in my tree back there. Oh, it's beautiful. And then I come back and I notice one side is a little tighter than the other side, but that's perfectly normal. So we're going to come on to all fours right now. And this is called a tabletop. We're just going to kind of move our hips side to side. And then kind of taking your hips in circles, rolling backwards and forwards, just moving around. And then going the other direction. And we might start with some cat-cow poses. So the cat pose, we're going to take our belly button up towards the ceiling and our chin towards our chest. And what you can do is push back a little bit and then come forward. And then we're going to take the cow and drop your belly button and then take your head up. And on this one, you might want to come forward a little bit with your elbows bent. And then coming back to the center and then cat pose, stretching like a cat and leaning back towards your heels. Coming forward, dropping that belly button. The head comes up and you're leaning forward, bending your elbows. And just going back and forth like that. We're just kind of warming up. Breathing. Warming up. Breathing. And then what I might do is some balance poses. So I'm going to take my right foot back and I'm going to push into that heel. I'm just stretching into the calf muscle, pushing back, and then I'm going to lift my right leg up. So my toes are either pointed away from me or towards me. I have them flexed. So I'm just going to hold it here, breathing in and then exhaling. Breathe in and then exhale. And then place that foot back down and your knee back. And then take your left foot and push back into that calf, just stretching that calf. And then lift that left leg up. And you can either point your foot away from you or towards you. I have mine flexed, and I'm going to breathe here, and then I'm going to exhale. I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to exhale. Placing that foot and that knee back down, dropping those hips side to side, and then maybe taking them in circles. And then coming back into that tabletop. I'm going to press back again into my right foot, my right calf. I'm going to lift it up, and this time I'm going to lift up my left arm, my palms facing in, and I'm going to hold here. I'm breathing, belly's going out, and I'm exhaling. I'm breathing, exhaling, breathing, exhaling. Place that back down, drop those hips side to side. Taking that left foot back, pushing into that foot, into the calf, stretching it, lifting that left foot up, taking that right arm up, palm facing in, and I'm going to breathe here. Exhale. As I breathe in, my belly goes out. Exhale. Breathe in again. Exhale. Coming back, dropping those hips side to side. One more time. I'm going to push back into my right foot, my right calf. I'm going to lift it up. And then I'm going to take that left arm, palm facing in. And then I'm going to breathe in. And as I exhale, I take my elbow to my knee. 1. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. 2 more times. Good. Place it back down. Drop those hips side to side. Take them in circles. Other way. Come back into a child's pose. So we're going to lean back towards our heels, and then we're going to take our hands out in front of us so we can rest our wrist. Take your head down, and then just lift your hands and your wrists up, and then just kind of turn them in circles. Coming back up. Take that left leg back, push into it, lift up the left leg, lift up the right arm, palm facing in, breathe in, exhale, elbow to knee, elbow to knee, elbow to knee. 2 more times. 1 more time. Good. Place it back down. Drop those hips side to side. Take them in circles. Other way. Now we're going to come up to what's called downward facing dog. We're going to tuck our toes, and then we're going to push up and back and just kind of walk our dog. So one ankle's up, one ankle's down. It's just kind of pumping back and forth. You'll notice your calves are stretching out. Breathing. Walking back and forth. We're going to take right here our right leg back and up and just kind of lift it up and notice the left calf, the left ankle. Move that right foot in circles. Place it back down. Bring that left leg up. Move it around in circles. Notice the right calf stretching. Place it back down. And then slowly walk your feet towards your hands. And we're just going to fold here. Just kind of folding. Breathing here. Place your hands below your knees and breathing here. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale back to a forward fold. Bring your arms out to the side and slowly, slowly reach up towards the ceiling. Come into a slight back bend. And then place your hands in prayer pose. We're standing now. So these are just some basics. We're not going to go on further because I'm going to try to keep this pretty much at 30 minutes so that people won't have too much. But what you can do on your own is you can practice some of the things that we just did, and then you can also practice the plank. The plank is great to hold for like a minute. If you hold the plank for a minute, you're breathing and you're exhaling. And what you're doing is you can't think about your problems because you're watching your timer and you're thinking about breathing. So if you practice just doing the plank for a minute, you can do the regular plank, or you can do the plank on your knees, whichever you choose. So try practicing your plank, or, well, the plank and the boat. The boat's a great pose to just practice holding for a minute also. These are great little tools to use. So the half boat, we're going to be down, our knees, our calves are like parallel to the ground, and we're just holding, like you can hold out, you can hold up, you can hold this way. And I would say do this for a minute too, just holding the plank, breathing and exhaling, breathing and exhaling. These are some great ways to start with some mindfulness and strength building also. So I will see you next time. Namaste. Thank you, friends.